more hype because, again, Makoto had some words about T1 before the qualifier started, so I'm sure people would love to see Talon versus T1 if it ever came to it in the upper bracket. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see if it happens. Before that, though, John, it's your turn. Predictions.
Which team will win? I'm going to say Talon. And I know you guys have got something to say about that. Still, it's early smoke break. Maybe some action. No, not quite yet. Player with the first triple kill. I can't bet against Mikado. But, I can't bet against Mikado. I still feel like Polaris will find that one, though. Player with the most D-wards by 15. I'm just going to lean towards Hyde. Although I feel like AU probably is actually a bit more disciplined on that. And player with the longest kill streak. Mikado had it last time. So I'm going to say Mikado again, although the Pango is not as slippery as the Puck. And we have seen Mikado kind of die a little bit more in the Pango, so maybe it doesn't happen. But those are my bets.
Thank you for that, Jonathan. We appreciate that. Well, I couldn't help but notice someone was asking earlier what the players were, shaking in their hands. Those are hand warmers, for anyone not aware. They aren't tea bags, they are hand warmers. So there you go. You need to warm up those hands before you do get into these games. Very, very important for these pro players. Well, Natsumi already getting very lucky with the route there onto KP, but cannot contest the boundary rune. Will have to back his Spirit Bear out. Meanwhile, bottom side, there was a bit of a fight over that boundary rune as well, but it is going to end up being a 2-for-2 trade. This Force is really going to harass Q out before he does leave the area. Beautiful little uproar there from our Primal Beast. Let's start with that mid lane. Makoto, going to be on that mid Pango. He'll be against
kind of
Lelouch.
Poking. I'm surprised.
I'm going to have to take over here. I believe John is having some issues here, so we are going to move into the mid lane, which is going to be Makoto and Lelouch going at it here on the Pango versus Kunkka. Should be an interesting matchup. Of course, we did mention the Quap might have a bit of an unfavorable matchup against the Kunkka during that draft stage, so they do swap out, put Makoto on the Pango instead. So the Pango offering a lot of team fight as well, and just a lot better in terms of going up against the Kunkka. Just kind of able to abuse the shield crash and the swashbuckle to really be able to lane against Lelouch. Of course, let's have a look at the side lanes as well. Perhaps bottom lane, you're going to have Force there on the Primal Beast, along with his Doom Xavius, playing the position 4. Q going to be on the position 4 Queen of Pain, and 23 Savage is going to be playing that Pos 1 Void. It does seem like a rather strong lane for either side. I'd say it does look stronger for Talon on this end of things, though, as well. Xavius on the Pos 4 Doom. You kind of question how much he can get done unless he finds the right creep. But now he does actually pick up that healing creep, so that creep is always interesting because you have 100 heal on a 10-second cooldown for 60 mana. And in fact, it's more like 115 heal because of the heal amplification. So it can kind of save the day for Force, and you are seeing it in action. Just use it off cooldown every single time Force needs it. Keep him healthy. And maybe Q just won't have the impact he's looking for on the support Quap. Because you just have constant heals flying in from Xavius. It kind of works as Force. He'll pop the uproar. Bit of harassment on Savage, but the Time Walk is going to take all that damage away. We'll have a look at that final lane as well. You're going to have the top lane. Hyde on the Dazzle. Going to be there with KP on the position 3 Marcy. Will be against Natsumi on the Pos 1 Lone Druid. And AU, of course, on the position 5 Lich. The Lich Lone Druid lane, usually pretty darn powerful, especially because you can abuse the Frost Shield with the Bear. As well as that, of course, Frost Blast also very, very strong. And you do see AU with some mangoes. Hello, Jonathan. Nice to see you back, sir. Just took a short break, did you?
Yeah, classic Southeast Asian stuff for me this time around. Good to hear at least you were unaffected. How's the game been going? I missed out a lot. 3 minutes is a long time to miss out here.
I mean, not much has happened, John. First blood hasn't been drawn. I was just discussing the top lane. If you'd like to have you put your 2 cents in here, John, I was just kind of explaining that Natsumi and AU might have a very good time at this top lane with the Lich and Lone Druid, but I suppose it goes the other way as well. Like with the Dazzle Marcy, you do have to be very careful.
And they're doing a great job on Talon to actually cut off that early CS of Natsumi. Off to a bit of a slower start. There are some good combos on hand. Just Poison Touch plus Sidekick and Rebound, of course, is really good. And you can't actually underestimate literally anyone with Sidekick, especially at level 2, level 3. The bonus damage on high chasing down with Poison Touch can whittle you down very quickly. So that is leading to that caution here. Like I think I heard you mention like a Frost Shield combination with Natsumi on the bear. That can happen, but it puts your bear at risk. And early levels of the bear are pretty manageable for the side of Talon. So you don't want to run that risk of bleeding gold over here.
Yeah, certainly not. Back at that mid lane for a moment, Makoto. He's having a very good time in terms of CS, but now the X is out into the torrent onto Makoto, but Hyde has rotated. Was around the mid-river area to secure the water rune. Does make sure Makoto can't really get jumped too hard. And he's going to give the water rune over to Makoto as well, so he does get those 2 bottle charges up. And it does seem like the lane switch up from Talon has worked out, John. Like, instead of having that mid-quap, the mid-pango is certainly doing a pretty damn good job against Lelouch's Kunkka, which you would have assumed would have been more lane dominant, but against the Pango, not so much.
Yeah, there's more play for Makoto. He's keeping up in CS. He's managing to trade fairly well. And overall, you're pretty happy. You're not giving any opportunities for Lelouch to find that kill opportunity in the Torrents. And Tidebringer is still a big threat, but Shield Crash does allow you to play a lot better. And you can trade with the Swash a little bit more. So lots of back and forth there. I think the side of Polaris and Talon kind of expect that slower start, although Savage.
Time walk away. Onslaught is there onto Q, but he can also blink away. So the one strength of this bottom lane for Talon is they do have great ways of getting away from that Primal Beast, which is probably why you see Hyde at the top lane with his Marcy instead. Just giving Q a way to get out on this quap and not allowing Force to completely dominate this lane.
Yeah, now that is what you're getting out here. Like, aggression from Polaris is being cut off. Savage is farming decently, although he is starting to have the same issues Natsumi is. Not quite the freest time in lane. And this time around, Natsumi's going to have a really good time of jungle. That is where Lone Druid can shine. Doesn't take too long to farm. Once you reach that 10 to 12 minute mark and you dip into the jungle, you will have a lot to clear out that you're not going to be able to quite match here on Savage. So that is a concern to have. And you already have Savius taking some early activity. Going into the jungle, getting some creeps up for himself. Does steal out the Crit Wolf. And is already showing mid. Doesn't have anything like the Infernal Blade to help set up, but they might have enough damage on hand. Thing is, Rolling Thunder is up already for Mikado. So kill him off is just tougher. With your control, it's not quite there.
Oh, absolutely. You're not going to be able to abuse the siege creep timing, that's for sure, and it is already gone. Makoto does take care of it.
Arms for the dead.
Mind you, Hyde, he also ends up denying off the regen rune against Lelouch, and that's going to probably put a halt to any kind of mid push as well. You can't really get too aggressive now as Polaris. They do back their way out, and first blood is yet to be drawn from either side. Both sides is very conservative play during this laning stage so far. There is a group up top side here from the side of Talon, but it seems like they're just hanging around together, making sure they can clear out these stacks that were made from Makoto. Pango. Decent at farming these stacks, but does need a little bit of help to just tank through it all, and Hyde will assist in that endeavor.
Yeah. Good amount of gold injection coming out from Makoto. It's still a bit behind Lelouch in terms of overall net worth, and the Kunkka just doing it a little bit faster, of course, with max out Tidebringer. But again, rather even game. Gold lead is just kind of bouncing around. Everyone's kind of had mirror situations come out, like both Savage and Natsumi are a little bit slower off. KP and Force are having better times. They're just managing to get into that point where the build-up is there. The kill threats can start to appear. I feel like you're at the point where you should be able to show up with Force, although down mid.
Yeah, this could be a big one. Boat has been thrown out. It's just a defensive boat for the run, but Makoto, he's got a perfect angle for the Rolling Thunder. Still the low ground pushback is there onto Lelouch. He will survive a little bit longer. Makoto, he'll keep the chase going, and Lelouch eventually is going to drop first blood to go the way of Hyde as Savage even shows up in the mid lane and does find Xavius. A super early rotation from Talon on the Pos 1 Void. And now there's 4 heroes in this mid lane from Talon. They haven't got a siege creep. I doubt they can push. It seems like they just wanted to make sure that mid fight went their way.
And it pays off. That is some time where Savage isn't farming, so you are having a better time on Natsumi, but even then, the AoE gold kind of compensates. Natsumi's still trucking a little bit behind. He is still working onto the Mask of Madness for his bear. Phase Boot's almost done, and he will TP away from that lane. He understands that not sustainable anymore. Should play bot, has a push opportunity here with Force. Talon, for their part, can also look to kind of trade top. The sidekick on Void again is pretty damn strong, but they are hunting here.
Yeah, AU gets caught out. Makoto got so much damage off with one swashbuckle, and KP was there to follow up on the Marcy. So the Pos 5 Lich is set to drop. Savage, he does get started on the top tier 1 tower in the meantime, and of course, the bottom tier 1 is going to be forced in by Natsumi. Q, the only one there to try and defend the bottom tier 1, but against the Spirit Bear, really can't do too much. Meanwhile, Force unable to grab him with the Pulverize. Not going to be able to lock down the Queen of Pain. And it is going to be a direct tier 1 for tier 1 trade anyway. So, yeah, Lone Draw, generally one of the heroes that pushes very quick, but for now, it's just going to be a very even trade as mid lane. Xavius going to get knocked down to the low ground once again by Makoto. KP is there to back him up, however, so Xavius still in a spot of bother in the toss back right into the Rolling Thunder. That's teamwork if I've ever seen it. Lelouch still is around with the boat. Makoto, he's going to cop the whole thing. He does get a shield crash, but it is not going to make the difference. Force holds him down with the Pulverize, and they do take out the mid-Pango.
And it's a good trade to take. You trade your support for the core of Talon. Mikado maybe just getting a little bit too far forward. Didn't manage to swash away in time. Good chain stuns coming out from Polaris' end. And that's some of the aggression we need to see from them. That's their first kill of the game. With how low their cooldowns are, wouldn't be surprised if they start lining up around that in no time here. And start buying out space that Natsumi will need. Now, Xavius also has his level 6 up. Does have the Doom ready to go with the Tranks up. He's a very speedy Doom. Not going to take him too long to gap close, although Savage really playing tag there. Does have Chrono. Again, there's not too much damage that can fly in from that.
Well, Hyde's almost trying to bait them forward here. Maybe trying to get that Chrono expended, but Force, he's going to be able to just walk away. Meanwhile, a Midas build up is here for Natsumi now, so just wanting to go the little bit of a greedier route with the Midas. Still makes perfect sense on the Lone Druid. The added attack speed always nice as well for the Spirit Bear, so you can't complain about that. It always reminds me of the meta we had way back in the day where Lone Druid would build 2 Midases on both the hero and the Spirit Bear. that wasn't it, John. Just Midas after Midas.
God, that's disgusting. Just play Arc Warden if you want double Midas, you madman. You know, that's a hero Mike loves to see.
No, I don't, Jonathan. Savage is going to get X'd up. Torrent is there. Savage, he does pop the Chrono. He's caught 2, but it's a defensive Chrono. He just wants to get out of this. Hyde, he looks like he will tank the gank for the team. Chrono expended. It is still a bit more value for Polaris, but I think Talon will be okay with Savage just walking away from that.
Yeah, they're fine. They knew that if they don't pop the Chrono, Doom's going to come out and Savage is just straight up dead. So you have to just expend that spell, back off, keep farming. And Talon are a bit more fond of the slower games. And I do appreciate that Polaris understands that. And you mentioned this greed out from Natsumi. If he isn't ganked up, then this greed will pay off. Like, he already farms a lot better, a little bit lower risk as well, putting the bear in front instead. As long as the bear doesn't die with Midas on cooldown, yeah, you're pretty set here.
Lelouch X's himself back. He's going to be okay. Just fine to back his way out. A 4-2 right now. Q. Bottom lane. Doom is you expended here from Xavius. Nice tonight, Makoto. We'll move in. Rolling Thunder's up as well if they want to expend it. Instead, KP's just going to move in and help out, and suppose we'll get the job done. So that'll be Doom expended, and they really get nothing for it.
Yeah, that's kind of funny, too, because Chrono went out to stop the Doom. Xavius feels like he needs to make play, goes for the solo Doom on the Quap, and still gets denied off. So you kind of neutralize each other's bigger ults. In fact, it's a little bit better for Talon, because the Chronosphere is off cooldown a bit sooner. So there's not much of a threat on Savage. They're looking down mid here, though.
Going in, KP, he's going to cop it. Force, he'll try to onslaught into Hyde. Does pick up the Dazzle, allowing no Shallow Grave to come out, so Polaris able to set up for a tier 1 mid tower, but Makoto is going to move in with the Rolling Thunder onto the Kunkka. Lelouch, he'll be locked down for a while, but where's the follow-up damage? Savage, he got rooted up. KP trying to help with the dispose, and now the Sonic Wave! It's going to buy some time at the X-Back. Savage is still going to drop. Polaris would not allow him to run this time, as Force will charge forward. He finds KP, and they even got Makoto. What a fight from Polaris. Great coordination from this dire side.
They're lining up that aggression. They know they've got a lot of spells on fairly low cooldowns that they can just constantly force out. And this is where Talon's draft kind of bites them. They just don't have damage. They're gonna need farm. They need this build up on Mikado and on Savage to really have any sort of presence up in the middle of these fights. They don't have a save when someone is held down by that Pulverize. And every single time Force commits, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill. Like, you just don't have that natural stun that you did have with Nyx in the last game, where Spike Carapace would just be a massive saving spell and just have so much more to play with. Like, you can just see the execution, the confidence of Polaris to just go in that fight, knowing that there's nothing to stop them here.
5-6 now, 3k advantage for Polaris. We've seen this story before. Off to a net worth lead already as the dire side. Savage once again forced to just keep farming with that Midas into the Maelstrom build-up. We did see Talon buy plenty of time for him last time. Mind you, that was off the back of Makoto on that puck. He doesn't have said puck anymore. He's got the Pango this time around. Not as slippery of a hero and not as great at split pushing as the puck was, but see what he can get done. Meanwhile for Polaris, I mean, Natsumi's having a really strong start on the Lone Druid. Not even top net worth yet. Force and the Kunkka is still ahead of him, but Natsumi should be able to escalate quite fast here on the Lone Druid. Continue farming up into the Shards and the Desolator build-up. Especially once you have that Desolator up, those towers, they just start to melt so quick. Even quicker than they do already. So it might just be about outpacing Talon in this game number 2.
That's where the beauty of that LD pickup comes in. It can scale towards the late game, but its earlier times are just so much better than the Faceless Void. The push threat is always there. And if you do want to play that slower game against the Lone Druid, well, it just grows bigger and bigger. The bear becomes a massive issue. You don't have the best burst damage on hand, but Talon's draft is sneaking around here on Polaris.
Alright, Pulverize is there. He'll tank the gank for the team. Force, he'll still be happy to take the kill. He's more than happy for any kill right now on the Primal Beast. Hyde's been doing a great job with this position though, making sure he doesn't allow the opening. Meanwhile, bottom side, Xavius will be chased down. There's an opening for Talon. Another support to be picked off. KB, he'll take that one on the Marcy. So support for support going down. A little bit more valuable here for the side of Talon. So they found the POS 4 for the POS 5. But still not really anything to write home about for either side.
Yeah, not the biggest loss. Polaris is still going to be happy. Lelouch was kind of in the firing line there, so he doesn't stay too long and doesn't run that risk. You know, leave Xavius to kind of cop it for him. The side of Polaris, again, they're getting everything they want here, though. They're just grouping up off the back of Natsumi's bear, going for the pushes. The Desolator one part away now, and these objectives just don't last long. Talon cannot fight. Talon cannot stall in the same way as they did in Game 1, and Polaris see that opening and just play a much more aggressive game. And again, even if this game slows down at some point, you've got great scaling from the Lone Druid, you've got great scaling from Xavius. We've seen Primal Beast just be a menace with the Ag Shard and the Blink BKB, and Force is also lining up for that Shard here. So you have a lot of options.
They're taking towers fast here, John. That top tier 2, look at the HP pool of it. Natsumi, it's one thing as well, like you can always split push with this Lone Druid, and now Doom out. KB, he's a much bigger target to be able to pick off for Polaris, and they found him. Onslaught is there, follow up, and he's gone. That's a big one.
Yeah, it does bait out the big spell, so KP in a way is buying some space here, but they can't afford to lose more off the back of it. Q.
Get caught, Lelouch will throw the Torrent Boat in, times it perfectly, no blink to come out. The animation halfway there, but not quite enough. Lelouch able to take a mega kill streak now on the mid Kunkka. And again, just such a powerful start for Polaris Esports. 6k advantage, 18 minutes into the game. They even found Makoto now. No matter available, they'll pulverize him up, and they've got the damage. Force and Lelouch, they are just a menacing duo this game too.
Yeah, they're running it really well. They just see this change up from Game 1, where in Game 1 they took it a lot slower. This time it's just non-stop aggression, looking for pickoffs every time. Their lineup excels at that. They melt objectives fast for the space given for Natsumi as well. And there's just no counterplay this time from Talon. They take care of that issue with a puck by banning it out. And now Talon's stall game, it's not showing itself. Like these objectives will just melt. The map is shrinking fast. And the timings for Savage still feel a long ways off from coming online here. And Polaris, I think they've managed to study that Game 1 really well. These are all the issues they had in Game 1 just disappearing. And Talon needs to find a new way to gain entry in this game, but it doesn't feel like they're just working it out well enough.
Poor old Hyde. He's experienced this before. Pulverize into the turret, and now even the tidal wave is up for Lelouch. Very early shards pickup, but considering he got the BKB so early, he just picks up the shards for that added kind of pushback, the displacement on the Kunkan. Polaris, they're getting very close to a point where they can just start thinking about Roshan. Hell, they could do it right now, but it seems like they want to try for this mid-tier 2 tower because they've got the Desolator already up on Natsumi. Look how fast this tower goes down. Glyph is forced out. They will glyph the creep wave. They want this tower real bad. And they're going to stick around for it. They're going to try and force a fight from Talon.
Oh, man. Just a couple of right clicks, already down to 774 HP. Going for a bit of a reset and falls back. Talon are kind of grouped up to try to fight back here. Diffusel's up in Mikado, so there's a little bit more damage output and control. And Polaris discipline themselves, look for more.
Yeah, Doom out again, KB. Trying to split push and buy that space you mentioned, John, but is going to die another time here to Xavier's. And now Roshan. It can get started. They feel very confident without the Pos 3 Marcy being up. So Natsumi moves right into the Roshan pit. And Talon, I don't think they'll even think about trying to force this fight. Hell, they might not even know what's happening.
They have no way of sneaking up as well. They take control of the bot jungle instead. Not the fastest Roshan in the world, but you do have good wards to protect here on Polaris' end. And that's going to be a nice Aegis to enable that high ground, enable themselves to clear out those last outer towers here from the side of Talon. Talon, they just have to play it slow. They have to wait for these BKBs to be up. At least with the BKBs, the only threat will be Doom for quite a while. So you will have more play coming out for Mikado, for KP, and Polaris will have to kind of make that choice on Xavius, but he's been pretty on point finding solo pickoffs anyway. So if Talon don't play around these BKB timings, that just kind of falls flat. And just these outer towers, definitely gonna melt with the Aegis up.
Still hanging around that mid-tier 2. Polaris want to try for it. Talon, they are pushing down the bottom tier 1 tower, but that's not going to be anywhere near as valuable as what Polaris are getting out of this. And that tier 2 mid tower, it is not going to last. Goes back to very clever drafting from Polaris Esports, I'd say. And of course, the execution so far has just been perfect. They are going to smoke up, but I believe that was underneath an observer wall. So Talon should know about this 4-man smoke coming in from Polaris. However, Hyde, he is around the corner on the Dazzle, but he's going to back his way up. Polaris still looking around for someone near the base. Thing is, if they can find a big pickoff near the Radiant base, they might think about high ground this early.
There's really nothing to stop them. Like, Natsumi's just in control of this game, farming up like a madman. He's going to have a Basher up soon on the Bear. And once that's up, it's just so annoying to try to deal with it. We haven't seen Savage go for any Chronos yet as well, so you do have that tool on hand for Talon. And Talon will actually smoke up his 4. Trying to fight into the Aegis, maybe catch Polaris a bit declumped here.
Yeah, Talon. 4-man smoke up. Polaris Esports, they are still clumped up once again. They're playing this very smart, just sticking as a team, understanding how powerful they are right now. They know that Talon can't really get a team fight going their way. AU, he's going to break the smoke. They'll try to roll in on the Lich, but his team is right behind him. Do they let the Lich die for free? AU still hanging around, does get a Chain Frost off, but it only bounces onto Q. Polaris still rushing forward, looking for an X back onto the Quap. Not going to get it. So the Lich does go down. That's about the best Talon could have got. That's a free kill, but it's not a great kill. It's just something.
Yeah, it doesn't really impact the siege that comes out here from Polaris. You do still have the Chrono ready on Savage. I'm not sure if he's even going to show up for this fight. BKB is up.
They're just on the high ground, John. Look at this. Natsumi. That's a T3 tower gone. 23 and a half minutes in, Polaris. They went from losing game 1 to speed running game 2.
Yeah, just playing that faster game. Again, that was their big issue.
Q, X out, turret will land, boat will land as well. Shallow Grave is gonna buy a little bit of time, but the rock throw and the onslaught into the pulverize. Q cannot make it. The rest of Talon, they just can't think about a fight right now. I mean, you've got BKB on Savage, but do you have damage? That's the problem.
It's not quite there. Even with maxed out sidekick, you are lacking output here on Savage. And the racks, if they don't stop this, it's just gonna melt.
They've got to pop the Rolling Thunder to try and defend this. Natsumi does get clipped by the stun. He got the Spirit Bear form off in time. Savage, oh, the Doom came out. Xavius, he caught the Void. No Chrono available. And Makoto is going to get caught by the Pulverize. They'll Shallow Grave by a little bit of time. A nice Sonic Wave. Hyde actually saves the day here for the Pango. They are looking to turn this one. Lelouch also caught out. KP with a great rebound in. Force, he will be KB Onslaught, but it's not far enough. Savage, he'll get the Chrono eventually. Hyde has turned this one around. The Pos 5 Dazzle with the saves. It turns everything for Talon.
Just that little Shallow Grave at the end to enable Makoto to come back into that fight. And they also managed to throw their bodies for it to ensure Savage would still be able to come in with a Chrono. It is a lot more back and forth. You know, the side of Polaris still find a lot off the map. And this is a pretty naked map now for Talon. No tier 3 down mid. Rax will just melt a neck shove in from Natsumi. But Talon are still finding a way to stall this game out. Now, it's not enough to swing this game back in any way. It's a 4K lead for Polaris. They still have majority control. They've got a BKB up in Xavius. He's actually saving up for that Ags now on the Doom. So the AoE Doom is going to cause a lot of issues for what Talon wants to do here. Like, there is just no way to continuously save Savage at that point. The Hyde spacing has to be perfect. And they're going to have to watch themselves. I think Polaris, they're still confident. Aegis is going to expire, though. But they can at least maybe gun for that one set of racks or even just a pick-off here.
Yeah, absolutely. Polaris not going to be happy with that last team fight. We'll try again. No Chrono up this time. No Sonic Wave up this time. It's an easier team fight for Polaris Esports. They'll move in. Tier 3 tower, rather Rax, is under siege again. Rock throw is there. Makoto, he'll pop the Rolling Thunder. Back it onto the Lone Druid. They're going to try to force the fight another time, but the boat is going to fly in. KP still going with his BKB out. It's a lot of damage onto Natsumi. He's still alive, however. He'll try to walk away. Makoto continues as well. Savage will jump in. They got Natsumi. Once again, the Lone Druid is down. They make it happen through the BKB timings, but now the turnaround with a great Train Frost. It's not enough. Shallow Grave onto KP's gonna buy him a little bit of time. AU is gone. Force, he looks very gone as well. That's 2 team fights in a row to go the way of Talon. They throw their bodies at the mid-racks for a second time. They got the Millie Barracks, John, but they have thrown the whole net worth lead back the way of Talon. I don't know if that's worth.
It's definitely not. You know what, Mike? This takes me back. I remember now in that one game in the ESL1 Genting qualifiers that Talon and Polaris played up against each other. Talon had this abysmal start. They looked absolutely terrible. It looked like KP was playing with his keyboard unplugged. And then Polaris, they have this thing with high ground. And they have this thing with high ground where they keep trying to force it sometimes. And it looked like a decent choice. The Aegis did expire, but they felt like it was risk-free. There's no Chrono to worry about. And somehow Talon manages to punish them. And I just get flashbacks back to Genting, because that was the kind of game where you just feel defeated. Hopefully for Polaris, you know, that's just something, this is something they can just brush off, you know, like water off a duck's back, right? Is that the word? It's something like that.
Yes.
They just kind of reset. They still have this good start, but you've given Talon the way back in almost. You know, Savage isn't that far behind from Natsumi. We're reaching a point where the Void's going to be protected. He's going to work towards the Lincolns. That Ags we talked about on Xavius, it's a support Doom. It's going to take more time. He doesn't have a Midas. So then, theoretically, Polaris might want to stall the game out, but then you're stalling the game out up against Savage's Void, which is always a risk. This is Savage's most comfy hero right up there with a Morphling. So is that really something you want to kind of poke out? Because that is something they tried in the last game, and it gets so difficult, right? Like, yeah, you do have scaling with Doom. You do have scaling with the utility on your Kunkka, especially as BKBs fade. There's still this really good blink timing coming out for Force. But boy, does it get scary. They've got to find Hyde in these fights. If they don't, the saves buys just enough time for Talon to kind of turn back in.
Hyde might need a back massage after this one, Jonathan. His back must be sore. Jesus Christ, he's kept his team in the game twice in a row now. So Polaris, they are 3k ahead in terms of net worth. They still have the advantage. Their Lone Druid is still the biggest net worth and the biggest hero on the map. Problem is, Savage is only 700 gold behind. It's literally the same story as game number 1. There's your smoke up. 4-man smoke here from Talon. They'll go through the Radiant Triangle into the Dire Jungle. Mind you, there's a Scythe device up now on Lelouch. They don't know about this. It has not been revealed. Could be a bad time to smoke here for Talon. They won't find the opening they wanted anyway. And now a 5-man smoke. Here we go again. Polaris, they aren't done bagging their heads against the wall, John. They're gonna go again. Through the mid lane. Makoto, he might be the one to break the smoke. Force might see him. Makoto sees them first. Onslaught is there. Force, it's a bit too short. AU gets the gaze off with a great ward on the high ground into the rock throw. Now the Chain Frost. They've locked down the Void. Pulverize is there. Sonic Wave out. Savage, he pops his BKB. He's still fine and Xavius is gone. Now the Chrono. He's got 2 targets, or rather just the Bear and the Primal Beast, but he'll go on to Force. Onslaught away. Force right into the loving arms of Makoto. Will get stunned up. Now they've got the Kunkka. That's Lelouch gone.
Oh my god.
Not again. They have done it a third time.
It's Hyde. He saves Mikado again. He's just there with the Grave, there with the flash healing from the good Juju and the Shadow Wave, and it's just enough every time for him to get off the BKB and roll back in. Polaris. I can't say they're out of it, because frankly, Talon has no objectives to take. Roshan, in half a minute, respawn is going to be up, and you didn't expand Doom on Xavier. So there is still play here. No Chrono on Savage for the next fight. You have an opening on Polaris, but you have got to be careful about this kind of fight. AU drops a good ward on the high ground, and they feel like they've got this initiation. They break off the roll from Mikado. They jump in and commit, but that gave Savage free reign to jump in and out himself. And it's still not Mikado you have to catch. They've been catching Hyde before. They need to do that again. If this Dazzle stays alive, the game is just so difficult. And mind you, this is Hyde without something like the Aether Lens too.
AU, he goes for a D ward. He's caught out. Xavius tries to jump in. They've got the Lone Druid, Natsumi. He was locked down by Makoto. Still is. And there goes Xavius. He is gone. On the Doom. Onto Force. On the Kunkka. Everyone is melting. Oh, Roshan's available as well. Polaris, what have you done? What have you done?
Oh, no. They have, I mean, that's rough. Like, you couldn't get the Doom off on Xavius. He got silenced up in the middle of that fight as well. And now with an Aegis coming out here, likely for Savage, with a free shard to come out as well. The game's just difficult. Like, this mid set of racks, this opening on the tier trees, it just felt like Polaris should have found more. But they haven't. They bashed their heads against that wall twice over. They forced the team fights out. Suddenly a 7k lead out for Talon. And Polaris, their high ground can be nice with the Kunkka. We need to see the Doom commitment from Xavius. He's almost at the Ags. He just needs a little bit more.
Look at the graph.
Oh god.
I mean, if you lose this game too as Polaris, you're gonna look back at that. You're not gonna be happy. That is. There's no other way to put it. If you lose this game, that is a throw. That is. It's. I don't want to be rude, John. I don't want to be rude.
Nah.
That was not how to do it. That's for sure.
No, I mean, by the graph, that is definitely. You can see that netward swing. Yeah. Again, this takes me back to that Genting game, Mikey, where I think it was with Otomo, and it was almost like this, except it felt even more impossible for Talon. Like, those circumstances were a lot worse. And I think Polaris still has what it takes. They've got to be able to do something like this. Ags on Xavius, 1k gold away. He can't die now.
Kono knows someone's down south. Xavius, can he get away? Oh, he can. Makoto needed to press a bit more on that gas pedal. Not able to get there in time. Polaris, they're doing their best to just split push the bot lane and force the side of Talon back. They don't want to even allow them to think about high ground. Force has done a very good job down in that bot lane of keeping the creep wave forced out. They can't think about the tier 2 bottom tower either. So that outer tower objective is still going to be standing here for Polaris Esports. Talon, they'll hold on to the Aegis for another 3 minutes. Maybe just wait for Savage to have the full Mjolnir up before you want to force another fight anyway. Just about 300 gold away from having the Hyperstone to finish that one off. Already has the recipe sitting in his backpack. And then maybe you could think about forcing a fight and going high ground after.
Yeah, opens up at that point. Aegis still up for quite a bit of time here on Talon's end as well. And that looks to be the full Mjolnir up. An instant smoke out from Talon. For Polaris' part, they are declumped, so they're not allowing Talon to look for these big engagements. And they are still keeping that bot shoved in. But a simple pick-off here for Talon can still kind of enable them to find more in Natsumi. He's a prime target here.
He is. He'll TP out immediately, and they are not going to be able to make it in time. Q, he was very close. They have got the bear, though. Natsumi was actually very, very lucky there, because Q did have the Yule Scepter to cancel the TP away. His blink was right on target as well. It was just a second off.
Ooh.
Spirit Bear not going to get out.
Too.
Yeah, it's going to get out as well. Very nice.
Huh, I thought return was cancelled when there's damage. Did manage to get it in the nick of time, so you don't really lose out on too much. You do waste some time here from Talon's end. You waste a roll as well, so there's a bit of a window if you do manage to get that jump in. Hags for Xavius, man. 180 gold away. That's the big one. AoE Doom. That could be the beginning of the return for Polaris here once that's up.
It certainly could be. It's a great angst build up here from Xavius if he can get it in time. He'd love it right now. 115 gold for it. Nice tidal wave, Lelouch into the Scythe of Vice. No backup though. Savage, he's fine. There's that Ags you talked about. It is now available. Stun is out. Root is there. They've got Savage locked down, but there's your Shallow Grave. Hide, he's not going to allow it. You have to find this Dazzle. Savage, again going to avoid the stun this time. Makoto, he'll go for the Rolling Thunder. Connecting on 2. They found the Kunkka. They've got the Kunkka locked down. Lelouch, he's in trouble. AU, he gets caught out as well. He couldn't help out. They'll have to buy back. They'll have to buy back and try to defend. The Doom does not have buyback available though. The Doom is up. The Axe is up. But they don't have the buyback gold to bring him back into this game. So Talon, they can just keep going. Into the mid-racks. No chrono, but who the hell cares? You've still got the Aegis. Savage making it very hard to even get close. Do they think about the top racks? It seems like they may.
This is risky. Aegis doesn't have too long left, and respawns are coming out soon for Xavius. AoE Doom, still pretty scary.
Certainly is. Assuming you get it off. KP, he'll find a Spirit Bear. Rock Throw again. Savage being very, very nasty with that time dilation. And the reverse time walk. It's just very hard to keep up with the man. Lelouch is the only one that can really catch him out with the X or the Scythe of Vice. Just hasn't had the greatest of opportunity doing so though. And so that'll be 1 Rax down in the mid lane. Tier 3 towers still standing on the side lanes as well. Not too big of a deal yet for Polaris, but the bigger deal is the fact that they've committed 2 buybacks. And there's a 14k disadvantage now for this Dire team.
Yeah, I mean, if they find one good teamfight on Polaris, that threat of a push is still massive. So it doesn't put them out of game yet. And again, you've still got this threat. Doom ready to go. I will say one thing as a bit of a diversion here, Mike. I saw Q queuing up the Ags in this Quap, and he switches out. I mean, he's got the full Kaya Sanch, but I wanted to see that AoE, that Shadow Strike with the little scream at the end. that would have been fun, but Q gets his senses together. I wish he didn't. I wanted to see that Ags.
What can you do, John? It happens. I've tried the Axe personally. I think it's complete garbage, let me tell you, John. But it would have been fun to watch, just to see it in a pro match. Q's going to be sensible, though. He won't pick it up for now. 5-man smoke is here, though. Talon grouped up through the mid lane. Polaris, they'll hang around their dire triangle. They've got vision around this area, so this is the best chance they possibly have of fighting apart from their own high ground. Talon are slowly making their way over to that triangle. Polaris are waiting right underneath their own vision. Torrent is there. Rock throw is out as well. There's your Doom out. Xavius, he casts it on himself. Sonic Wave will push him away, however. Now Savage, he gets caught out. Shallow Grave though hide. Again gonna save the day, but can they save him through this Shallow Grave? The Gay's gonna hold him down. Savage is gone. That's a great start. Polaris, they'll keep trying, but Makoto, he's doing so much damage on the Pango. As KB gets caught, but Hyde's gonna save him again. Natsumi, he has been left behind on the bear and he is taken down. KP, he'll pick up a double. They're thinking about going high ground once again, even without the Void. Who cares? It's 4 versus 1. How do you defend as Polaris? You've got no buybacks.
You can. The one saving grace is that Megas aren't available with the tier 2 still standing bot. And one issue right now is even if you clear them all out, like Q is basically a core with his build-up. Even just jumping for solo here.
Force, yeah, I mean he's trying to get Q, but even Q's too tanky now. And Force, he is buying time to protect that top racks, but it's already gone. They're just going for a free kill here onto Force. This will be the full team wipe they were looking for, and Talon will get it eventually. At the very least, Force does have buyback, but he doesn't need to commit it yet. There is a tier 2 tower standing down that bot lane, so Talon cannot go for mega creeps. But they are 2 racks ahead and now 20k net worth lead ahead. And I don't mean to make matters worse for Polaris, John, but that was a team fight lost with the Void down. We did not see a Chrono.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the ideal circumstance, right? They get a Doom off, maybe that pushback kind of hurts them a little bit with the Tidal Wave and with all the spells they have changing the movement. But in the end, they get to hold on to that one hero. Again, the issue here is Talon doesn't have just 3 cores, they have basically 4. Q is just basically a semi-carry. Like Kai Sanj, the output of the squap is huge, and Q has free reign to just jump in and out. He's going towards that Ags this time, Mikey, and I hope he manages to find a gold for it. Roshan up once more. Polaris, they don't have vision in the pit. They've not been able to go near the area anytime recently, and Talon are going to have another secondary life and a free Ags upgrade here as well.
Why not? That'll be for Savage, I think, but you could try to steal it if you want.
Aww. Oh, Hyde? No way.
Oh, he gives it to Hyde. No, you know, I
Ooh.
like that from Savage, because Hyde's carried this game for them. But those couple team fights where Polaris were in the lead, pushing high ground, those shallow graves from Hyde over and over again, is the only reason Talon's still in this game. So Hyde, he gets a free Axe Blessing this time. He deserves it.
I mean, he can refresh their BKBs. Right, so that's massive. And you can just easily refresh your item cooldowns. Yeah, second VKB use for Savage, second VKB use for Mikado. Heck, a refreshed Lincoln's could be even good here, depending on the circumstances. So there's a lot of value there. All right, let's go for it.
Okay, that's actually gonna be pretty fun to watch.
Mikado got himself stuck in the cliff and then into the tree line, had to swash away, which is why Q tipped him.
Very nice.
Oh, he's got the gold, Mikey. He's got the gold.
The axe? Is that what we're talking about?
Q.
Right. Don't buy Q.
Give
It's
it
rubbish. Don't buy it.
No, don't listen to Mike. Follow your heart, Q. You know better.
Don't buy Wind Waker or something, Q. Be responsible. Savage. Tier 2 bottom tower is not going to last. Natsumi is split pushing the bot lane. They do have a creep wave still down in that bot lane, so they could try and protect this creep wave through a Diaglyph if they wish. Savage, throwing it up, stunned up, Tidal Wave, Scythe of Vice. Damage is there. Natsumi trying to pump it out as Force. Gonna miss the onslaught and now the Chrono in the backside. Natsumi, he's caught. He did not get the bear form off in time. He is gonna die, but he has buyback. He'll commit immediately as now the Doom is out. Xavius with the Chain Frost, slowing down Makoto, who's underneath tier 4 towers for some reason. We'll buy back. Here we go again. The Doom's still going. Savage now in trouble. Has the Aegis. We'll have to expend it. That's the first time. Meanwhile, KP will rush in as the Marcy, but cannot hold down the Doom. Can you keep fighting without the Doom of the Xavius? That's the question. Because Talon, they don't seem to think they can.
Yeah, not quite. They're just going to be able to clear out Last set of racks, one more up top with just a range. Polaris would have to do him. This team fight feels awkward.
Yeah, and they go again. Lelouch is gone, no buyback, refresh on the chrono. Savage doesn't even need it. GG is called. Polaris Esports. Oh, they were so close. They were so close to getting a game 3 as Savage. Fountain diving, why the hell not? Celebration fountain dive. They'll be able to get the 2-0 victory here against Polaris Esports. Hyde's the MVP. I'm going to say it right now. Hyde put the team on his back. Someone get this man a massage. He's going to need it.
I mean, there's a reason why they call Hyde the Giga Chad every single time, right? That's what New England loves to call Hyde. And he shows that here. Like, he plays a fantastic game. The early game looked atrocious.